Everybody, if you're thinking about moving to Fredericksburg, Virginia, or that area, or just want to know what it's like to live there or visit there for vacation, this is the episode for you. We've got Ginger Walker of the Give Back team right there, a realtor in Fredericksburg. I told Ginger I feel like I'm spelling it wrong every time I type it, but it's also hard to say. Fredericksburg, Virginia, and the surrounding areas, and she's going to go over the other areas that she covers. But before that, this is Want to Move There, the show giving Central Pennsylvanians the info that you need to decide whether you want to move outside of the area or maybe vacation there or get a second home there. Ginger wants you to come to Fredericksburg. We can visit there pretty easily from here, so it's a good place to look and visit and all that. I am your host, DerekBicksler, realtor of 15 years right here in Central PA. I grew up on the hill in Harrisburg, went to Mechanicsburg High School, go Wildcats, and went up to Penn College of Technology in Williamsport. Been back here ever since. Had a few sales jobs before I started selling real estate 15 glorious years ago. Contact me to buy or sell a home, please. We still need inventory, pretty crazy, and Ginger's going to tell us what it's like where she is, but we still need inventory pretty badly, but it's it's not quite as bad for buyers. So my buyers have started coming kind of back out, and I'm reaching out and saying, hey, it's not as crazy as it was. So call me, text me, email me, throw a rock through my window, send a carrier pigeon, whatever you need to do. We need inventory, like I said. And whether you're watching live or on the replay, please ask a question in the comments, or if you know Ginger or myself, please say something. And if we don't see it during the episode, we will come back and address it because there's a lot going on here. So sometimes I don't see the comments and don't bring it to the attention. And a reminder that all the replays are on, whoa, I switched it. There, all the reminders are on replay. All the replays are on YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, and on iTunes and Spotify and audio players now. And Ginger, I had a show. I've had multiple shows before this, but my last show, we got 100, 200 episodes into it, and I never put it on podcast players because we got so far into it and it was just too much and I never started. But this one is on there. The first 3 episodes are already on there. This one will be on there so everybody can catch it in their earbuds if they want to or wherever they want to consume their content. And now, without further ado, I'm going to bring in Ginger, and I want you to say hi, but then I'm going to start something new this time. I never really read the bio for people, but I'm going to do it for you, and I'm going to start doing it. So first, I just want you to say hi to everybody so I can stop talking for a second, and then I'll do that.
Hey everyone, it's Ginger Walker from Northern Virginia. Nice to see you all. Hey Derek, what's going on?
Hello. So now we're going to do this. I've never done this before, but I've kind of wanted to, and I keep forgetting to do it. So, and I got to move my mic a little bit so I can see it. So Ginger, she grew up in New Jersey. She went to Notre Dame High School, which I want to hear about. I'd never heard of a high school called Notre Dame. We know about the college. In New Jersey, she went to Westchester University, which a lot of us know about. I used to go there to party a lot when we were up in Penn Tech. We would drive there because it was a better place to party. I think the girl to guy ratio was really, really good. Penn Tech, it was the opposite. It was like 1 to 7, and there it was like 7 to 1 or something. So Westchester University for political science. Her favorite color is pink in all caps with 2 exclamation points. She loves to eat pizza, drink wine, and eat ceviche. She does have pets, which we'll find out about. She does have kids, 2 of them, which we talked about a little bit before the show. Taylor, 18, who we talked about and is off somewhere else, which we'll let Ginger tell us. And Cole, who is 15, and she is married to Dave, or D as she likes to call him. She loves traveling, hiking with their puppy, working out at the gym, being outside, and tasting that wine. Ginger, thanks for being with us.
I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you. And I think a lot of people here have been to your area or near your area because we all kind of visit that area. But maybe start by telling us maybe something about yourself personally that I didn't cover there. Anything you want to talk about or where your daughter is right now, what she's doing?
Well, first, let me tell you, the Fighting Irish, that is the high school I went to. It was in Lawerenceville, New Jersey. So that's where I grew up. Small private
And it's
Catholic
the Fighting Irish also.
Yeah.
So it's affiliated. It's actually affiliated. They didn't just name it that.
No, well, I don't know if it's necessarily affiliated to the college, but yeah, I don't even know how they got the name. But yeah, it was Notre Dame High School in Lawrenceville, New Jersey, and we were the Fighting Irish. So the same logo and everything. So yeah,
Huh.
I mean,
Catholic?
I am. Yeah, I went to St. Paul's in Princeton, New Jersey. So yes, I am like the Billy Joel song, like. You know, my legal name is actually Virginia. I don't normally share that with everybody, But like the Billy Joel song, "The Catholic Girls Start Much Too Late," like "Come on, Virginia," that would be me. I was like the good girl, like all the way. Now we're talking. So,
Nice.
no, but my daughter she's over in France right now for her first semester with Syracuse. So we were joking before this, but I am paying for her to go on wine tastings as an 18-year-old because it's legal over there. And one of their first things that they did as a group to get to know each other was went on a hike and a wine tasting. Like a wine tasting. I want to go, but no, I'm still sitting here in Virginia just paying the bill for her to do that. So
Antonio might be over there with her.
yeah, exactly. That's true. I could send her over to Portugal. She could go meet up for. He always has some great wine and like pictures of all of his food and stuff. So, but yeah, my daughter's not really giving me much photos. There's no videos. There's no nothing. I just get the random text. "Hey, mom, having a great time. Taylor, how's school? Oh, that's really good too. Okay, good."
I feel like that's first semester you said too. I feel like that's something that back in my day, that was something you didn't get to do till like junior year or something.
No, yeah, it's a special program she got accepted to. And so it's for international relations students. She wants to go work for the State Department at some point. So it was a special program that they offered, and she was accepted to that one. So there was, I think, only 30 kids that went over there. So it's a small group. So, and it's for the first semester, but I have a feeling that her career as a collegiate student, she'll probably go somewhere else again before she graduates, would be my guess. We lived overseas for 2 years. We lived in Rome. So I think my kids both got that international bug and they want to travel, which is awesome. So that's one thing that we love doing as a family is traveling. So I think that's part of the reason what made her adventurous enough to go and do that and take the opportunity, which I think is actually super amazing.
Yeah, it is. It's brave because it seems like, whoa, exciting, lucky you, but it is kind of a big thing. And when I was that age, I'm still an introvert, and doing that would have felt cool, and I probably would have done it because I'm also a risk taker. But yeah, that's a crazy thing to do at 18.
Yeah.
Did you say she just turned 18 when she graduated too?
She literally turned 18 on her graduation day from high school. So it was a double celebration. And then about 7 weeks later, she flew on out and flew overseas, and I won't see her until December, which is kind of sad. I'm kind of bummed. We'll miss her for all the holidays, but well, not for Christmas, but yeah, we'll miss her for Thanksgiving. So, but she's having an amazing time. She's learning, she's doing great. And my son, who is 15, almost 16, is driving, which is very scary. So anyone on the roads of Fredericksburg or Stafford, beware, because Cole's on the road with a permit. But he's looking to do the same thing in the future too. So I have two adventurous spirits in kids, and my husband and I are super adventurous too. We love exploring. That's part of why we love where we live too, because we're always finding a new place to go for a hike with the dog, or going in the Shenandoah, we have a waterfront property, going water skiing and, that kind of stuff. Where we live, we can hit the water or we can hit the mountains. So it's kind of cool. We have a little bit of everything, not really skiing in our area. We have to go a little north and west for that, but more like in your area, because you probably have some good skiing where you are. No, you're skiing? Not really.
We're very similar to you. We can get to water fairly quickly. You can probably get there a little quicker, but we've got kind of mountains and choice of all the stuff. And we do have a little ski mountain 20 minutes from most of central PA, but it's little. So we kind of would have to drive a little bit too, but we're pretty similar in that respect. So to go back for a second, in high school, I think it said political science you went to college for, right? In high school,
Yep.
Did you like that stuff? Were you on the debate team, or what did you do in high school that made you want to do that?
I actually was on the debate team. I was on the debate team. I was on the swim team because I'm a swimmer. My kids are swimmers. No, I always wanted to be a lawyer. Like that was kind of the thing. I thought I was going to be like the next Perry Mason, and I probably just totally dated myself by saying that. Or Angela Lansbury is another one I throw out there. Derek, you probably don't know who that is either, do you?
Murder, She Wrote.
Oh, okay. Woo! Okay, good.
It was my mom. I won't say what I was. It was my mom's favorite show back in the day.
Oh,
She's much older than you. Not much. She might watch this. We gotta stop. We don't talk about ages, right?
this is live. We have to be careful. No, but I mean, I watched it on the reruns. How's that? It was the reruns. It truly was. No, but that was something I always loved. I mean, I was so interested in like debating and like learning about why laws are the way that they are. And that was just something that always interested me. That and ironically, French. So in college, I decided to do political science. I thought I was going to go to law school. That was the plan. I almost minored in French. I was one class short for a true minor in French. But then afterwards, I was planning on going to Seton Hall Law School. I graduated college, moved back to my parents' house in New Jersey, worked for a judge retired from the bench that was an adjunct professor at Seton Hall, and fell into sales. Like it just was one of those things. I ended up in pharmaceutical sales and worked in Manhattan for a long time, and then ended up in this area of Northern Virginia because of my husband's job. So he's government. We ended up at Quantico. He ended up here at Quantico. And the rest is history. So I didn't become a lawyer. I actually married a lawyer. And ironically, he doesn't use his law degree either. He practiced for about 10 minutes down in Florida. He went to the University of Miami, practiced, and then joined the government and started working for them. So yeah, I mean, it's just kind of funny how things fall into place, like how we end up where we are and why we're here and that sort of thing. But not a lawyer, married one, doesn't practice. And I get to deal with contracts being a real estate agent. So being a realtor, it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of a hybrid of sort of where my direction was, I think. And I get to help people, which is what I love.
Yeah, it's a hybrid, all right. It's probably the most hybrid job anybody could possibly get unless you start leveraging out things, which we all need to do, but probably don't do enough of, especially us solo agents or whatever we would call ourselves. So you said you fell into sales with a pharmaceuticals job.
Yep.
I know a lot of people that have fallen into that job. Were you recruited? Were you looking for a sales job or what? Tell me how that kind of happened.
No, I was working for the law firm and I had a part-time job at the mall because that was what you did. And a friend of mine who was working there worked for a medical sales company. And he was like, you'd be really good at this because I love dealing with people. Like I actually liked my part-time job more than I liked the law firm job. So not that it wasn't fun, So he said, you should try it. And I interviewed for a job. I ended up getting it. I was in pharmaceutical sales for, oh my gosh, a long time. I started off as a regular drug rep, just hitting the streets, and I started in New Jersey. I ended up hospital sales in New York City. I ran a team, a division, and I kind of worked my way up. I broke a glass ceiling within the company that I was at. And I wore a lot of different hats. So I was in training. I launched a drug to market and marketing. So they kind of brought me up in the company, which was a really unique thing. And then I ended up running an entire region. So I ran the Northeast region. And a lot of people know the drug Ambien. That was one of our drugs. But I launched a drug to market. So we had,
which I learned is sorry.
Yeah.
I just heard a fact like yesterday, like 2 days, very recently, that it's not, it doesn't help you sleep. It helps you forget that you didn't sleep. So, yeah.
The way it works on your brain, I don't know. I'm not a medical doctor and I don't play.
It's an amnesia drug is what it is. Basically. Yeah.
Just kind of, that's why they say don't be walking around because you might eat your entire refrigerator or drive to central Pennsylvania from Fredericksburg, Virginia, and not remember it. So, but that was one of them. But it was a really cool thing. And I got to scrub into open heart surgeries and watch all that sort of stuff. And so, yeah, I mean, it was just a neat thing. And then we moved to Virginia. And because I ran an entire region, my corporate office was in New York City. My big office was actually in Paris. And I was pregnant with our first kid. And it was one of those things that I decided to be a mom at that point and not travel. So, because it was a lot of travel. And so I ended up giving up an amazing job. And then I fell into real estate. I mean, quite honestly, it wasn't something I planned. We built our house and we had a crazy experience. And I was like, I don't want anybody to have that experience again. And someone's like, you should sell houses. And I looked into it and I absolutely love it. So I've been doing this since 2008 and I love what I do. So it's a lot of fun. It's amazing how
you nailed that why story down from the YouTube challenge pretty well.
Yeah, you got to be concise. So
Yeah,
But yeah,
yeah. So that was going to be one of my questions. So you were doing pharmaceutical sales. You built a house and you saw the process and thought you could do it, maybe do it better. So you started doing it. Did you leave full time? You just left and started doing real estate? Was there a period where you were just doing nothing, or how did the transition work?
yeah, there was a period of time because so moving to Virginia, my family's all in New Jersey, my husband's is all in Connecticut, and we have a little family in New York. So I knew no one here. And when we moved here and we built this house, we found out that we were expecting our first, which was super exciting as we were moving into the house. So, it was one of those things where unfortunately I got put on bed rest and I didn't have an opportunity to get to meet my neighbors really or get to know my community. So there was a period of time that I was here by myself. My husband deployed overseas several times for some shorter deployments, some longer deployments, and the team that he's associated with, those spouses and stuff I got to know. But so for a period of time, I wasn't doing really anything. I was still technically with my pharmaceutical company, but I realized I had to let that go because I couldn't serve my clients or my team. And I had several hundred people, on my team for pharmaceuticals. So there was a period of time I couldn't do anything. So I sat and I kind of just watched a lot of television. I know, read a lot of books, spent a lot of time on the computer. And then I was like, you know what? As we built this house, I thought back and I was like, there was a lot of things that I wish I had known. And the agent that helped us was brand new and didn't know. And so the mortgage person had said, come work for me. You'd be amazing. And I'm like, I'm not really a numbers person. I'm a people person. And so I kind of wiggled my way into the avenue of, hey, I think that this would be a really neat thing that I can do. And I like my community. I love where I live. And I did at that point get to know where I was. And so I took the opportunity to take the class and talk with other people that were selling real estate. And it was just awesome. I mean, it was one of those things that was a blessing in disguise. It was unexpected, but it was the perfect fit. And so that's why I do it, because I absolutely love it. So kind of the rest is history.
Yeah, I think it's equally as amazing as pharmaceutical sales. I'd think better because you don't have to try pharmaceuticals. You travel like crazy, like you say, which is great if you like to, but it's nutso, right?
A lot. It was a lot for, yeah. I mean, and for what I was doing and running a whole region, I mean, I had to be, meeting with a lot of different people and going to New York and Paris. It was a lot. So, my family comes first, and having that little baby, in my arms, that was the most important thing, to be a mom first for me. And that was the decision that we made as a family. So that's why I took a pause. And then, we had our second kid too. And this was like the opportunity where I realized, okay, I could do this. I actually teamed up with another mom that was in a similar situation. So we worked together, which was kind of cool because her husband was military. He flew F-18 planes. And so he would deploy or travel. Mine would deploy or travel. So with having the kids, we were our own little tribe. Like if she could do it and go meet a client, great. If I could do it, great. Our kids would be together. So it really worked. And it was a great way for us to both start in the industry.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you've been there. So what year? You said 2004? What'd you say?
2000. I started literally, Derek, as the market went like this. So I was like, if I could learn to sell real estate as it was going like this, I would be cool. I'd be good. And so it was a great time to learn. It was a crazy market then. And, we saw a lot of foreclosures and things like that, but short sales. And it gave me the opportunity to learn a side of the business that I might not have in a different market. So, now I'm poised for multiple different types of markets. And, in a great market, it's I don't want to say easier, it's different, but in a harder market, now I'm absolutely prepared. So, which was a great place for me to learn. I didn't make a lot of money. My husband called it the unjob for about a year, but I learned a lot. So
a year's not bad. Even in a regular good market, a lot of people, you're not making any money for 6 months, a year. That's probably average. So you're doing all right.
Yeah.
All right. So let's talk about where you are. And I'm going to bring in the map here. So I'm just going to tell and act like everybody doesn't know nothing about about geography, which might not be far from the truth. So we got the United States map here, and you can see I got my pin here. You can disregard all my hearts along the Appalachian Trail and whatnot here. And then, so you can see, first of all, where Virginia is and where relation. You can see our little dot blinking there is where I'm sitting. So you're pretty much right south. If you drove down, what highway would probably be using 81 to get down there maybe. But then, so they're pretty much right below Washington, and we'll bring it into there. And now I'll end sharing screen now that everybody knows where it is, including me. I did know where it was somewhat, but not exactly precisely. So I'm learning things about each of these places myself too, which is nice. So first, let's start about telling us about the climate. We know you're close to us, so probably similar, but does it rain there when it rains here? Is it overcast like it is here? What's it like generally?
Probably. I will say it's pretty humid. That's the one thing, like right now when it's well, actually today it's beautiful. It's cool out. It's probably like 75 degrees. The winters are pretty mild. We don't get a ton of snow. We haven't probably in the last 7 years. I mean, we got hit with some crazy storms where it was like 7 feet of snow, but we don't get a lot of snow in the wintertime here. We're very close to the water. So we sometimes get some of the, the hurricanes that come through, but not really. I mean, we don't really get hit with that. Occasionally a tornado will come through, but not crazy weather that way. So we're very fortunate based on where we're located. The summers are hot. We get into the hundreds sometimes, and it is a little on the humid side. So, the humidity kind of makes our hair go a little crazy, which is never fun. So, but usually, the spring
it's hat season.
It definitely is hat season. I mean, the other day it was hat season because it was pouring
or
here.
Bun season or whatever.
Yeah. But no, it's usually in the winters, it's usually pretty mild. I mean, we get into the 30s too, but we don't see a lot of crazy snow. And then we do have the rain in the spring, probably a lot like you, Derek. I don't know how much snow you guys get, but we usually don't get a lot.
Yeah, about the same. And it seems less and less every year. Do you guys close for school a lot? 2-hour delays, that kind of stuff?
Yeah. So they will, I joke because I am from New Jersey. My husband's from Connecticut. So we're more accustomed to driving in snow and having like a lot of plows. And I kind of joke that there's like one plow in Stafford County. It's not true. It's not true. But no, they are very cautious here because we do have a lot of windy roads, 2-lane roads, to get through the country part of the area. So they do call school in advance a lot of times of snow, but we don't really get that much snow. So have we had snow days called for school when there's no snow? Yeah. But it's not that frequent. So, and they do 2-hour delays and stuff like that. So, but it's not that common. It's really not that common anymore. I don't know what's happening, but yeah, we used to get a lot more snow than we do now.
Yeah, same here. And now there officially no snow days. That's you go home and do the Zoom class, which don't get me on that soapbox. I'm going to be making some executive decisions to have a snow day, and guess what? We're not showing up for the Zoom meetings because we're going sledding, or hopefully, that whole thing kind of bugs me a little bit, but watching the ticker, waiting for your school to come up on the TV. I missed it. Now I got to sit here and watch the whole thing for another 30 minutes and wait. Yeah, totally cool.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
It's not really that crazy here for weather. I mean, like I said, the summer's pretty hot.
It's more the freezing rain that delays us or cancels us than the snow.
Yep. Here too.
And then the landscape, similar to here, we kind of have some mountains, but not huge mountains, hiking. You mentioned you like outdoors. What are some of the outdoor stuff you guys like to do? And maybe name a couple of the places you like to go.
Yeah, so we do walk around Quantico a lot. There's a lot of trails on Quantico that you can hike and run on and take the dog. That's what we do a lot of times. Prince William Park is a little further north from us. That's a great place. There's lots of trails. It's just a really neat place because there's a stream. So if you have a dog, you can let the dog run in the stream. It's kind of hilly there. So if you want to do some trail running, you can do that there, which we love to do on the weekends. Flatter stuff, there's Government Island, which is literally right on the water. It's in Stafford. And it's just a smaller area, but it's a nice place to go for like a nature walk, something a little, less intense. But a lot of times we'll go out west and we'll head to the Shenandoah because there's some great trails out there as well where you can do mountain biking, true hiking, and bouldering. You can do rock climbing out there. So there's some great trails out west as well. And then because of where we are, we also have a lot of like battlegrounds. So if you like that sort of thing and you want to go on a more of a historical walk or hike, you can certainly do that too. And then in October, which is coming up, there's a ghost tour, which is always a lot of fun in downtown Fredericksburg, in the old part of Fredericksburg, where there's also a college, Mary Washington College. So there's a lot of different things that you can do. And then we're right by the water. So you can take kayaks out, rent a jet ski or, a boat and go water skiing. And there's
What is the body of water or bodies of water? What are they? Bays, rivers, lakes?
well, so we actually like to go, there's Lake Anna, which is about 45 minutes south from here. And then there's the Rappahannock River, which is right through Fredericksburg. And that's a great place to go tubing. So a lot of times you can do the kayaks and canoes you can rent there and then go tubing down the Rappahannock River, which is a lot of fun too. And then, you've got the Potomac. You can go out on the Potomac as well if you wanted to take a boat out. And a lot of some of our communities actually have marinas because, they're right on the water, which is pretty cool too. So we have friends with those boats. We're down in on the lake, but we have friends with the boats on the open water. And it's fun because you can take the boat up to DC from where we are, or you can go to some of the, there's a lot of, not a lot, but there's a couple of bar and restaurants that are on the water that you can take by car or by boat. Ooh. And it's a lot of fun because then you can pull up and dock and go have something to eat, maybe a beer or two, and then take your boat back home, which is fun.
Yeah, that's super fun. That's unique. Yeah. That's something we don't have here at. There's one place on the river that you might be able to pull up to, but it's not really made for it. It just happens to be kind of on the river and you could pull up to it if you really wanted to and get out. But so that's super cool. So anybody that likes boating, or is it like pontoon boats also? Is it that kind of situation where it could be any kind of boat?
It could be a boat. Yeah, it could be any kind of boat. And on Lake Anna, there's actually there's a hot side and a cool side. So we're on the hot side where you can actually be in the water even now. It's still warm there, which is kind of cool. So, and you can rent, they have ski boats. You can rent ski boats or pontoon boats. You can have either, which is kind of fun. So
yeah, super cool. And you mentioned the Shenandoah. How far to there? How far would the drive be?
We're about an hour and 15 minutes from where we are right now. Maybe an hour and a half, given, the traffic and stuff like that time of day, because there are back roads. So, there's farm equipment and people on motorcycles and stuff like that. So, it depends on who you get behind that day, but it's I'd say about an hour and 15, hour and a half, somewhere in there.
Yeah. Which is I drive 45 minutes to get to outdoor spots all the time. And the Shenandoah, actually, I'm going to maybe next Saturday, either the Saturday before the Sarasota or after Sarasota. I told you I don't look at calendars, but I'm planning because whenever the leaves change, I like to come, but I like to come before they fall, like right before they fall.
Yeah.
So I got to come down there. But for those of you that don't know that place, I mean, that's serious outdoor. You could go on outdoor week-long excursions from trails there. Bears, I always see bears in Virginia, never see a bear here, but there, every single time I see a bear.
They've toppled over my garbage a couple of times. So I live on a couple of acres of land. And yeah, we've caught them, and the neighbors have caught them with the cameras, all the cameras where everyone has on the outside of their house. A couple of cubs and a mama bear. And then the garbage goes, all over the place. So yeah, we do have bears here. And if you go out to the Shenandoah, you definitely have to kind of be prepared for that. So, they're definitely out there. But when you're out there, you could rent a cabin, you can go tent, take a tent. I had a client that used to do the tent on the top of their car and go and do that and stay on the top of their car tent kind of thing, but there's apple picking out there. There's just a lot of fun stuff to do. So it's not necessarily just a day trip. I mean, you could be out there for a whole week and have a great time. So there's all kinds of fun stuff to do.
Yeah.
And then
Or you can just drive through the highway itself is a tourist
it's,
attraction, a skyline drive or something.
yep, it's beautiful. Yeah. If you haven't been, it's one of those places that you should definitely go. And if you can ever catch it at sunrise or sunset, it's outstanding. It's just stunning. So that's something that you should put on a bucket list for sure.
Yeah,
And there's
and
been
fog rolls through there and sits sometimes. Yeah, you can tell I've been there a few times.
it's cool.
They have a campground too. There's a state park in the campground. I mean, it's super cheap. It was like $15 or something for a campsite.
Yeah, it's cool. It's very cool. And there's so much to
Awesome.
do there. There's so much to do. So yeah.
That's sweet. So we know there's military and government, obviously. You got an island called Government Island, which maybe you could explain more about why it's called that. So government, military, is there anything else, or is that most of the business and employment there?
So in the Fredericksburg area, we actually have Geico, the insurance company. So that's got a big footprint in the Fredericksburg area. And then in Northern Virginia, we have Amazon. Amazon came to the Northern Virginia area, and there are kind of satellite pockets all over the Northern Virginia area. March of Dimes. There's a lot of big businesses actually and tech companies that have come to the Northern Virginia area, which is really unique for us because it offered a lot of opportunity to buy homes in different areas. So, we not just have Quantico, which I'm sitting pretty much outside of, where if you hear something go boom or this rattles, they're blowing stuff up, which is what they do sometimes.
I hope it happens so we can witness it.
It's actually pretty cool. But there's not only the Marines there, but there's also the DEA is there and FBI is there as well. So we have government in the Stafford, Quantico area. And then going north, obviously, we have a lot of people that will commute from Fredericksburg all the way up to the Pentagon. So we do have a lot of military, a lot of government, but big businesses, I would say, we have a lot of tech. Like I said, Amazon is creating a bigger footprint in our area, as well as then Geico in the Fredericksburg area.
Yeah, and the government and the military, all that stuff tends to bring a lot of the other businesses there to then service
Yep.
that and the contracts and all the other stuff that comes along with that. And we have a
Yep.
lot of that here too. We've got the state government, we've got a federal courthouse, we've got lots of military and colleges, which isn't government or military, but a lot of things that kind of stay steady all the time. So tell us a little bit about maybe, here I tell people one of the cons in my pros and cons video is you're not going to buy something here and make $500,000 over an upswing of 6 months or something like in Florida or some of these crazy markets. It's going to be pretty steady, but you're not going to lose your butt either, probably. So what's it like there? Kind of the same?
So I would say, because we do have with military, a lot of times that they'll buy a home and then they'll turn around and rent it out because they're usually in the area for about 3 years, more or less. So, we do have a pretty steady market. We have a great resale market as well as a rental market here. The average sales price in the Stafford area is about $450. And I would say that we've seen an increase. I mean, year over year, we're seeing the increase outside of just what's happened with the COVID chaos, which we've hit about a 17% increase in Stafford, the Stafford Fredericksburg area. But I would say usually it's usually single digits. It's probably anywhere from 4 to 6% that we see of an increase every year. So we have had people though. I mean, I've actually had clients that have purchased a house and turned around and not made $500,000 on it. But I had someone actually make almost $100,000 on a house because of, what they put into it. And then the increase in value over the 18 months that they owned it. So is that typical? No. But are we seeing an increase in values? We do. We definitely do. And then if you go a little further north, because we do cover all of Northern Virginia, if you go a little bit further north into like Fairfax County, which is closer to the DC area, average sales price there is much higher and the increase in value is greater. The percentage is greater in that market. So I think it has a lot to do with, the businesses that are coming in because we do have a lot of, like Amazon is a big deal. They've brought a lot of people and they're going to continue to. And when Amazon comes, other businesses follow. So that's been an interesting thing to see, even where the the trickle down of where people are buying homes, even though they're going to be commuting that hour, maybe a little more depending on traffic. How far south they're actually buying, which is kind of a unique thing too. So I think that's helped all of the values overall from like Fredericksburg north.
I mean, that's pretty good. Even the typical, so you mentioned 17%, where we've seen that like 15, 17, maybe even pockets of like a 20. So there have been, and I just sold a 750 house. It didn't settle yet, so I can't say what it actually sold for, but they owned it for 2 years and they made like 150 on it maybe or something. So it does happen, but typically, but even that 4 to 6% you said, that's pretty good. That's better than here. I think we're usually at like a 2, or, we're kind of with CPI. I don't know what current CPI is, Consumer Price Index, for those that don't know, is, but yeah, that 4 to 6 isn't bad. And then it makes sense that the closer you get to DC, the more expensive it gets, and the more appreciation. And we even get those people down in like Gettysburg and Littlestown in southern Pennsylvania, and then even up southern central Pennsylvania, Dillsburg, we get some DC people that will drive hours, because you'll get a palace with 20 acres and almost zero taxes compared to there, I guess. And
Yep. Yeah, that's what we're seeing. People will come south because they want more for their money.
Yeah, and now that they can do it remotely, although all that remote stuff is going to start, you're not going to make the same money. So at the beginning, you could just move, do your remote, and you were still going to get the same money from the company. But now they're starting to equalize it. Well, we're not going to give you the Silicon Valley or the LA salary if you're going to live in Idaho or where Central PA or something. Yeah. So what about traffic and all that kind of stuff? Us Central PAians pretty much hate traffic. I have friends that have lived in Philly or New York that have moved back solely because of traffic and dealing with that crap. How is it there?
So I have to be honest, it's not good. 95 is the main corridor going north and south from DC to Richmond. And it can be challenging. It does depend on when you go. So we do have this thing, the hot lane, which is the high occupancy traveling lane. It's kind of like an HOV lane, but it's one direction. So in the mornings, it'll go north. In the afternoons, it'll go south to help accommodate people that are commuting to DC. We have Route 66, which also goes like east and west, basically. I will just say that we've been noted to have some of the worst traffic in America. And I think we were compared to LA at one point. So we do have a lot of new construction. We have a lot of people that are moving here, which is great. But the infrastructure of the roads is catching up, and the hot lane is still going further south. So it will help. But it doesn't quite hit truly Fredericksburg, like the Route 3 corridor, which is where it's just south of the Rappahannock, which is kind of the natural divide. So commuting is definitely, it can be challenging, but that's the interesting thing, because with the government, they actually can do work in shifts. So some people might start their day at 4 a.m., right? And so they're leaving at 4 a.m., but they're coming back much earlier. So when they do that, it helps alleviate some of the congestion on the highway. But there's different things that we have. We have the VRE, so we do have the train. So if you're close to a train, you can take the train, which is nice. We do have slug lots, which I talk about in a YouTube video that I'm actually dropping soon, it's like a carpooling kind of version. So there's a lot of carpooling lots. And then if you take the 3 or more people in that hot lane, you can travel for free. You don't pay. Otherwise, you're getting charged to use that lane if you're a solo person. So
via Easy Pass.
Yeah. Yep. We use the Easy Pass.
Kansas City, they don't have toll. They don't have. She didn't even know what Easy Pass was.
No way.
Anita. Yeah, that's what I said. What? I thought every state had Easy Pass.
Well, we have a cool Easy Pass. Wait to hear this one. It actually has a switch on it. So if you go into HOV mode, that means you have 3 or more people in your car and you don't get charged. Now it only works here because I was like, well, I am from Jersey and I drive up to, Jersey and New York and all that stuff. I'm like, I wonder if I leave it in HOV mode, if I'll get charged, but you do. No, but so it's for here. And if you have 3 or more people, you actually drive for free. So you don't get charged, but you still have that transponder, so it's an Easy Pass Flex. So it's kind of a unique thing for our area. I don't know anyone else that has that.
Yeah, I've never heard of it, and I've never heard of a hot lane either. It sounds interesting, and I guess to save space and you don't have to build two lanes or. But that's yeah, I've never. I kind of want to go there. Is there? It's impossible to go the wrong way and mess up on this thing.
They're usually pretty good. There's a lot of different like things that come down, and there's cars that travel up it to make sure, like, sweep the road to make sure no one's on it, that kind of thing. I can't say that some crazy nutball won't try, because there's going to be always that one person. But no, there's a lot of barriers that come down so that you can't. It's it, and there's warnings. They tell you, it's going to shut down in 10 minutes, or everyone's going to be exiting, or so they time it, and then there's a period of time that no one's on it, so that they can make sure that no one's on it anywhere. And they literally drive the length of it to make sure that it's completely clear before they switch it around. I know it sounds a little scary when you think about it, but no, but it seems to work. I mean, it's been here for a good number of years, and it definitely has helped alleviate some of the traffic. But again, we have a lot of people moving here too, so that's more cars on the road.
Yeah, and it's kind of similar to here again, where well, all on the east, everything's kind of old because we're just older part of the country and everything's falling apart. And I liken it to New York City, where there's always scaffolding, something's being fixed all perpetually. In here, at least in central Pennsylvania, the roads, always something is going to be fixed, or there's an old road in the country, or a bridge. A lot of bridges are now being shut down to being fixed, and a lot of detours and things. So probably similar in that respect. So how long do you think, if somebody, let's talk about Fredericksburg in particular, if somebody lived like in a suburb outside and worked in the town, what would that commute be like?
Oh, well, for someone like living in Fredericksburg, so Fredericksburg is kind of big. So there's the old town, downtown area, where there's all like, you can walk to the coffee shops and the restaurants and the bars and that sort of thing. And there's a college there, Mary Washington College, and actually Mary Washington Hospital. It's all right there. But Fredericksburg is actually kind of big. So depending on where you're working, I mean, it could take 20 minutes, but it does depend on where you live and where you work. To get from Fredericksburg to DC, that's another story. It could take you an hour. It could take you 2 hours. It really does depend on the time of day and how you're traveling. But within the Fredericksburg area, I mean, there are a lot of people there, and there's some big shopping, like there's a big Wegmans. There's, a mall that's there. So it does kind of depend on where you are in the Fredericksburg area in relation to where you're actually going. But it's usually pretty manageable in that bubble right there.
Yeah, sounds again pretty similar. You can have that suburban life if you wanted that, but still be 20 minutes ish from most of all the metro area and the downtowns. And do you have well, we're not to that part. Now we're to that part. What is there to do? Let's start with food and culture. So tell us about like the food scene and that kind of thing.
So downtown Fredericksburg is probably the most fun to go out for food, because there's all different types of restaurants. So if you want, Mexican food, Indian food, Thai food, a burger, you want Italian food, there's all different types of restaurants with all different types of vibes. And it's just kind of that laid back, cool town where there's some still cobblestone that you can see. It's just a really neat place. And there is a VRE stop there as well. So you can travel there as a destination if you wanted to. So I would say that, if there's a type of food that you're interested in, you can probably find it in the old town part of Fredericksburg. There's now in the more commercial spot, there's like your big box restaurants and things like that, your chain sort of stuff. But then there's also the mom and pop restaurants that are here and there as well. So, we also have, which is kind of cool, I don't know if it's like this in your area, but we have food trucks. Food trucks are kind of a cool thing here. And they actually have a spot on Route 3, down Route 3 in Fredericksburg. They have a spot where they kind of sit, but a lot of them, they'll go out to like the breweries. So on the weekends, it's a lot of fun because you can find like your favorite taco truck. I have a favorite taco truck that I love. And when she goes to
shout them out, let's give somebody something to look for when they go.
So it's Tuesday Taco, and Myra's the owner, and she is amazing. And my favorite thing from her is the shrimp tacos. So if you ever are in the area and you see the Taco Tuesday truck, you have to try the shrimp taco. And they'll go to places like Adventure Brewery, which is one of the breweries that we have here. We have, let me think, we have Six Bears and a Goat, which is another one that they have like live music, which is kind of fun. And they have Frisbee golf, which I never have played, but that is a thing here, Frisbee golf. And
It's
you,
big,
yeah,
kind of like pickleball. It's exploding right now. But so
yeah,
wait, they have one at the brewery? Is that where you
they
said it
have,
was?
yeah, because they're on a bit of land, and then they've got a stage for a band, and they do like the Oktoberfest, that kind of vibe. And they actually have a restaurant there, which is kind of cool. Then there's Barley Naked, and Barley Naked is in North Stafford, and they bring the taco trucks in too, and they have music like, on the weekends as well. They'll put tents up and stuff like that. So there's a lot of really cool, like if you like beers and you like craft beers, there's a lot of cool places that you can go, and you can even do a beer tour, which I actually did a YouTube video. We didn't drink it everyone because we would have been liquor schnicker by the end. We tasted them, but we did do a beer tour, which I have on our YouTube channel, of like Stafford and Fredericksburg, just some of the local breweries, which is really cool. And we have a bunch of them here. So a lot of a lot of the food trucks will go to the breweries, which is kind of a neat thing, and they rotate. So you can get any kind of food and a great beer, and it doesn't cost a lot, and a good atmosphere in the Stafford and Fredericksburg area, which is something we do like to do on the weekend, which we might do tonight because who knows? It's Friday.
It is the Friday. It is the Friday. It is
It's
Friday.
Friday.
Yeah, it sounds great, and everywhere has been exploding with the breweries, and there's probably a couple of distilleries around too. Those are starting to be more,
There is,
uh,
yeah,
yeah.
yep.
And
There's
then, what about like festivals and First Fridays and Thursdays and arts fests and like fireworks on Fourth of July and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, you can find a lot of that in downtown Fredericksburg, in the old town part of Fredericksburg, which is really cool. They'll do like festivals for there is always an art festival, like where they do artwork on the streets. There's a St. Patrick's Day parade, because there's Irish pubs down in downtown Fredericksburg also. It's called SantaCon, where you can get on, it's like a trolley, and you can go bar hopping. I mean, if there's something to celebrate, we probably have something to do that with. So there is fireworks on 4th of July. There is fireworks for New Year's Eve. They do put on a really nice show. I mean, COVID kind of changed a little bit some of those things, but there's still a lot of different festivals and events. And then we have the Marine Corps, the race. We have the half marathon and the marathon,
Oh yeah.
in Fredericksburg, which is a lot of fun. I haven't run the full marathon, but I've run the half. And it's really a very special thing in this area, because they
That's
bring
like the DC one?
they do a marathon in DC, but the Marine Corps marathon one of them is in DC, and then there's one in Fredericksburg.
Because I've been to
And
the DC one.
yeah,
My
and then
ex-wife ran it and I followed.
so I've not run the full, but the half marathon is actually in
I didn't
Fredericksburg.
run it. Let me be more specific. I
Oh,
followed on a bike. She
oh,
ran it. No,
no,
thank you.
yes, no. Yeah, and that one they do up in DC. Yes, you're right. And they do it in, I believe, Arlington and Alexandria. They hit that part. Did they go through Arlington Cemetery? Did it go by that?
I feel like we did, yeah, and
Yeah.
maybe over the river and back a
Yep.
cut
Yep.
time or two, and
Yep.
yeah.
Yep. And then for the half, it's down in Fredericksburg, and you run through like the old town part of Fredericksburg. You run like, and it's kind of hilly. So, but that's a really nice race, and a lot of the Marines will come down, and then they line the streets with, in remembrance of certain, of people that have been lost that year. And then they have the flag that you run under. So for this area, just being such a big military community, it's a really special event, which is, it's amazing. I've only run it once. I'd like to do it again though.
Good for you. I dislike it, and my knees, like I was telling you, can't take it. So good for you. Do it while you can. So what about two more things on the what is there to do before we move on? Airport. If you were going to need to fly to vacation somewhere, what airport are you going to, and how far is it?
So there is a small airport in Stafford. It's the regional airport. So you're really not probably using that one. That's usually more for like the FBI to use for the helicopters and that sort of stuff. But you can either go south to Richmond, which is going to take you probably about an hour and a half, or you go north. We typically go north we have two airports in DC. So we have Dulles, and then we have Reagan. So it depends on where you're going. but those are the two options. And then sometimes you might go to BWI up to Baltimore, which is going to take you probably about an hour and a half to 2 hours to get to that airport. From Fredericksburg to Reagan or Dulles, it's probably about, depending on traffic, anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour and a half. It really does depend on when you go. So those would be kind of the bubble of where we would fly in and out of, but most likely you'd go north to DC.
Yeah, similar here too. We do have HIA one right here, which is actually pretty good. You can get most places, but Baltimore we go, and then DC, and I guess New York. You could hit up New York too if you really had to get somewhere, if it was only going from there, I guess, or something. So then my next question is kind of along that vacationing lines. If you didn't want to fly somewhere and you're driving to the beach, where are you going? We go to the Jersey Shore for the most part, maybe sometimes Virginia Beach or something, but Jersey Shore is probably the beach of choice around here. Where are you guys going?
We'd probably go to Virginia Beach, or we would go down to the Outer Banks. So, Virginia Beach is probably that's the fastest and most convenient one. As far as time, it would probably take you about an hour and a half to get there. Again, depending on beach traffic. But, I would say the Outer Banks is probably where, if you want to get away from the Virginia hustle and bustle, I'd probably say Outer Banks is where we would go. And that's going to take you, I want to say, like 3.5 to 4 hours, depending, but it doesn't really have to take you that long. The reason why I say that is because, remember, 95 is the main way of going from Maine to Florida. So during the beach time, like Fridays and Saturdays, or Fridays and Sundays, it gets a little congested with traffic. So it really depends on when we would go, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that's pretty good though, because I think from here, if somebody asked me how far it was to the Outer Banks, I'd say 6 to 8 hours would be my ballpark guess off the top of my head. So 3 to 4-ish. That doesn't sound too bad. All 3 hours is like nothing to me. So to get to Outer Banks that quick, pretty good.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about food culture. What else? Any fun trivia or any of that? So the last thing we're going to talk about is what people can get for the money there if they're moving there. But before that, I want to talk about a little bit of any fun trivia, any isms, any sayings, any I don't know. Like here, we're the snack capital of the world. We got Hershey Foods. We have Utz potato chips and all kinds of other snack manufacturers. Lebanon bologna is here. That seems to be a big thing. Anything Pennsylvania Dutch. Trying to think of some other isms. I posted in a group the other day, and I was like, "Wow, there's a lot of them. I should do a whole video of just isms." But
I can't really think of anything like that. I would say that I guess the area that where we're known for is really going to be the Marine Corps base. Everyone comes to visit the statue that's there at the main gate. But there's not really any like isms that I can think of.
Here's a question for you. In Central PA, we gauge distances in time. So if you ask me, how far is it from here to there? I have no idea how many miles, or no idea. It's 10 minutes, it's 20 minutes, it's something like that. And I've heard from other people that's not, they do it by miles or whatever. So what would you say if you said here to there? How far?
Time. It wouldn't be miles, because it's not far from, where I'm sitting to DC in mileage. It's time, because it's traffic. So, yeah, it would definitely be based on time. It wouldn't be based on mileage, because if it was based on mileage, you'd be there in like a hot minute. But traffic, yeah, it's time. It's definitely all about time.
There you go. Yeah, what it should be, because I could care less how many miles. That means absolutely nothing to me, because if you're in LA, it could be a mile and be 2 hours.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and 95 and the time of day, that's really the key, is like, it could take me. And I will say that I am that person that if I have to get somewhere and the hot lane is going in the right direction, I will pay to go on the hot lane, because it could take me 2 hours. And, if I have to be somewhere, I need the time back in my world. So, yeah, so it's definitely time. It's not distance, for sure.
Yeah, agreed. So one last one I just thought of before we end. We got 6 minutes before we got to shut off. But one more thing about things to do. Any big stadiums, if somebody wants to see somebody big in concert, we've got something within like 20, 30 minutes to see Justin Bieber or Jim Gaffigan or any of these stadium packing people. Do you have any, where would people go to see something like that?
So we actually just got a, I don't even know if they're a minor league baseball team here, the Fredericksburg Nationals. So I know that they've had concerts there. We've had concerts there, which is right here, and that is a fun place to go on the weekends and go watch a game. It's so much fun to watch them, and you're kind of more involved with the game as opposed to some of the bigger stadiums where you're, like the nosebleed seats really are. There are no nosebleed seats in the stadium. So I would say some concerts would be there, but for us, we would probably be going up to, the Washington team's stadium up in DC. So that would be where we would most likely go to concerts. Or then we also have Great Wolf. Well, not Great Wolf. Why do I say Great Wolf all the time? Great Wolf Lodge is down by Virginia Beach, and it's a place to go. It's, oh my gosh, it's not Great Wolf. Now I got Great Wolf in my head.
You can think about it.
There's another place in Northern Virginia that puts on a lot of concerts. And as soon as we stop this, I'm going to remember it and I'm going to put it in the chat because I'm.
There you go. Put it in the comments. So before we run out of time, and I don't think you have a ticker. So we've got like 4.5 minutes. So let's spend at least 2 or 3 minutes and I'll cut you off if we need to. And I'll stop talking. What do people get for the money? Average price here. Let's say somebody's selling their $300,000 house here, which is kind of average. I heard you say 450 is an average. So, what are they? Let's just do that. What are they getting for that 450? Is that a single family home on a quarter acre?
So for 450 in the Stafford area, Fredericksburg area, you're getting a 4-bedroom, 2.5 minimum bath house with a basement. We do have basements here, walk up or walk out, probably on about a quarter acre lot in a community. If you're looking for a townhouse and it's a resale, you're probably looking at about 375 to 425 for a townhouse. New construction, you could be all the way up into the 500s. If you're looking for land, which we do have 3-acre minimum lots in some cases, you're probably looking more in the 700s, and that's probably a over 5,000 square foot home, 3 levels with a couple of acres, in a community or not in a community, with sidewalks or without sidewalks. So that's kind of the nuts and bolts. How did I do?
Nice.
Did I do?
Pretty good. That was very concise. I love it. One follow-up question, HOAs. So I talked to Michelle in Boca Raton and places like that where the HOAs are like everywhere. Here, not so common unless it's a townhouse community or maybe like a minimal one for a monument sign or something like that to take care of that. So HOAs there in a suburban single-family neighborhood. Do you got a HOA there, gated, anything like that?
We do. We have one gated community that's on the water. The entry for that community just to enter the community is $2,500. So there is a capital, contribution, but most of them in this area are usually anywhere from about $35 to maybe $75 a month because it'll include trash and things like that. But yeah, most of the communities, the established communities do have some level of an HOA. Some are really relaxed. Some are a little bit more stringent where you need to, get the color of your shutters and your front door approved. So it really depends. But we do have a lot of HOAs in the area, but with the acreage, we have a lot of ones without HOAs as well.
Yeah, it just depends what you like. And if you're in a neighborhood, HOAs can be good because it keeps your neighbor from painting their house rainbow colors or something.
Yeah.
So here we're going to do the very last question super quick just because I want to know what your answer is. And I'll give you 10 seconds to answer this before we close it out. If you could do any other profession, what would it be?
I'd be a mom. That would be it. I would be a mom. I'd be a mom all day long. I love being a mom. That is my second profession. And if I couldn't do this, that's what I'd be doing. Either that or a wine taster.
There you go. Those are both good. And you could do both with your daughter soon. Maybe not too soon. You could do the wine part very soon. And the other part, hopefully 10 years or so, maybe, or whatever her plan is, I guess.
Exactly.
All right, cool. Let's, it's clock ticking down on me. I'm going to say your number aloud for anybody listening later on audio format, so you can reach Ginger at 703-825-0332, and you can email her at ginger@givebackteam.com and at givebackteam.com if you want to find her on the internet end. All her information will be in the description, and her Facebooks and YouTubes and all the stuff will be in the description, and links for everybody to reach out to you. If you need to buy or sell a home, please reach out to me. You can call me, text me, email me, throw a rock through my window, send a carrier pigeon, whatever you need to do. We still need inventory. And if you need to move to Fredericksburg or anywhere around there, obviously reach out to me. We'll sell you a house here for top dollar and then hook you up with Ginger to help you move there. Thanks everybody for watching and listening. And we have 30 seconds to say goodbye. So say goodbye, Ginger.
Woo! Thanks everyone. Much appreciated. Thanks, Derek. I appreciate it.